Hey everyone, Dr. Jake here from Inver Chiropractic. One of the 5 categories of metabolic syndrome is waist circumference, so how big our waist is. And a big proportion of that is visceral fat. Visceral fat is the dangerous fat. That's the fat that we're having in our midsection. The more visceral fat we have, the more fat that's squeezing on our internal organs. So it's making our hearts pump harder. It's making our lungs work harder. It's making all these organs have to work much more harder because of the increased pressure that we're having. The other thing that visceral fat does is that it acts as an endocrine gland. So what that means is that it can actually secrete hormones. So one of the hormones that it can secrete is estrogen. What estrogen does is that it increases our body's likelihood to store fat. The more estrogen we're making, the more our body wants to store fat, increasing this visceral fat in kind of a cyclical motion. The more visceral fat we have, the more we increase our risk for cardiovascular disease and diabetes. So that's things like atherosclerosis or hardening of the blood vessels. With diabetes, that's looking at insulin resistance and not being able to process glucose. So one thing that we can do in our office is that we can measure this visceral fat. We can actually test for it and we can see where you're at, and we can go through a program called 8 Weeks to Wellness where we can address this both on the front end of eating better so that we're not putting more fat into our body, and also on top of that, exercising better so we can actually start to burn fat. Both of those, on both ends of that, is how you can decrease your visceral fat, decrease your risk for cardiovascular disease, and decrease your risk for diabetes. If you have any questions on any of this, please comment below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you know anybody that could benefit from this information, please share this video. Thank you very much. Have a great day.